Welcome to Level with Emily. This conversation is with game developer Alina Matson. Alina started a company called Glossbird, and they are making a game called Fitment, which is a social micro-exercise mobile game. Comes out in 2023, so it's not out now, but it's on your radar now for next year. I stumbled across Alina because Alina and Glossbird are here in Minnesota. In fact, they're right here in Minneapolis, where I live. And of the hundreds of game composers and developers and audio technicians and musicians that I've interviewed, almost none of them are from where I'm from. And so it's fun to talk about the Minnesota gaming scene because there is one and it's vibrant and Alina is part of it. So we'll talk with her about Fitment in just a minute. Please do join us on Discord. It is free and you'll find a link down in the show notes. Also, subscribe to this YouTube channel so you can be sure to catch all of our latest uploads. And if you're able to support us financially on Patreon, we would greatly appreciate that. Patreon.com/level. All right, well, back to Alina and Fitment, which has been described as Animal Crossing meets Duolingo for exercise, which sounds good to me. Here's Alina.
My name is Alina Matson. I'm the founder of Glossbird, and the mission of our game studio is to create wellness for gamers through games. My story did not start off in game dev. I was born and raised in Minnesota, hopped the border, went to school in Wisconsin, Madison, actually for mechanical engineering. And from there, moved to the West Coast to work with hardware startups, get really into the whole startup Silicon Valley thing. And eventually, as the pandemic rolled around, I kind of got a little bit sick of it, kind of wanted to do my own thing, also just inspired by my own life and my own challenges with fitness and exercise, and began the studio and our first game, Fitment.
I love that. So talk about Fitment then, because, I mean, as you say, as gamers, and we know this is an issue with gaming, it tends to be a sedentary activity, but we know there are ways to change that. So talk to me more specifically about Fitment and what it's like.
Yeah, so specifically Fitment. Fitment is a social mobile game designed for low fitness gamers. And what it is, we've been called Animal Crossing meets Duolingo for exercise. And we provide basically a couple minute long exercise breaks in this really cute, wholesome, cozy environment to help motivate low fitness gamers exercise 1 minute a day. 1 minute a day is our ultimate goal.
Wow. And so you said there's a social aspect to it. So describe that if you could.
Yes. So this is not out yet. We are still currently in development, but the social aspect is being able to build teams and your own team. So getting, 40 of your Discord friends or your family or your roommates all into a team. And so you have this kind of cooperative team buddy system. And so if you see someone on your team who didn't do their daily workout, you can send them a push notification. You can send them some gifts to try and motivate them. And so it becomes a team sport of trying to be more conscious of being physically active every day.
Yeah. I mean, it is a difficult thing to do for some people. I know for others, it's easy thing to do, but I'm not one of those. So I have to make time every day. And it's been like a new thing for me too in the past few years of my life to try and incorporate activity. And, the Apple Watch helps. And there are all these little tricks that help me too. But I know that I would benefit from having another trick in the bag to get me motivated, So you said, this kind of was born out of your own struggles with fitness and gaming. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So lifelong gamer here. My main console, I had a PS1, but really got into gaming with the original Xbox. And that became my big thing as a kid. I was horrible at sports. I hated sports. I was literally the kid who was picked last in gym class. I don't even know why they let the PE teachers let that happen, because it just made me feel really bad, but came home every day and went back home to play Halo 1, Halo 2, my Xbox, and that was kind of my safe haven. And so ever since then, I just really didn't like sports because I wasn't good at them. And kind of really struggled with exercise that way. In more recent years with Fitment and specifically the pandemic, I with these startups, I used to work 60 to 80 hours a week, come home between 9 and 11 p.m. and told myself I didn't have the time to exercise, grab my Nintendo Switch and just start playing Animal Crossing for a few hours every night. So it wasn't so much the lack of time, it was the lack of motivation, kind of the mental space I was in. I just, couldn't do the exercise and needed something a little bit more mindless, something that, sparked a little bit of joy. And that was video games. And kind of those two ideas came together of why not make a very low bar fitness game, because even games like Ring Fit Adventure at the time were still a little bit too intense for me.
Yeah. I mean, they can be really intense, and that's very overwhelming, right? I remember, I've never been a weight person with weights, right? And finally, just 2.5, 3 months ago, I was like, I'm getting some dumbbells and I'm looking up YouTube exercises. And for me, it was easy beginner arms, right? And it's like a 12-minute workout. It's not like a 45-minute thing. And I think that's key to getting people to understand that they have the ability. Like, it helps you to succeed if you can succeed, right? So making it digestible and smaller, it's like the stepping stone to improved fitness and improved wellness, right? Yeah.
And that's what makes mobile such a great platform. Sometimes we get asked why aren't we considering the Nintendo Switch or PC or other consoles? It's because even anything can really become a reason why you don't want to exercise. And so we're really trying to tackle all the reasons. It's you don't have equipment, you don't need equipment. You don't have, your exercise clothes. You don't need exercise clothes. You don't have your Xbox on you. It's on your phone. And so really tackling those. So no excuses. Let's start 1 minute a day.
Yep. I love that. So you had mentioned too, just a few moments ago, that you were West Coast pre-pandemic. And why did you decide to come back to Minnesota, I guess,
Yeah, all my friends, all my family are back out in Minnesota, and so really miss them. I don't want to stereotype Californians too much, but there's a bit of this hustle culture, competitive culture that's out there, especially kind of in the startup world. If you go out to a bar and you talk to some people, the very first thing they'll ask you is, what company do you work at? Google, Facebook, Amazon, whatever. And I don't know, just kind of wanted to come back to my roots and consider other things that are just beyond a big tech career.
But of course, right now, you and the team aren't in Minnesota. You're in Spain.
We are in Spain.
Yeah. So, because I reached out, I was like, hey, I want to learn more about Minnesota developers. And you're a Minnesota developer. And you're like, yeah, but we're in Spain right now. So talk about that adventure, because that sounds absolutely wonderful.
Gosh, yeah, it was such a surprise, such a great opportunity. And so we are currently fundraising and looking for different opportunities, including accelerator programs, which are basically summer school for adults to start small companies, startups, and studios. And so this was one of the many accelerators we applied for. It's called the Free to Play Campus Program. It happens to be located in northern Spain, Vitoria-Gasteiz, Basque Country, Spain.
Oh, wow.
We got in the program and it's awesome. They sponsored 4 members of the team to go. We have an apartment, 3 meals a day, industry's best advisors in mobile. There goes some lights. Sorry, yeah, the lights are turning on and off here. It's a very green city, actually. So they have all these little features and whatnot. But sorry, to go back to the point. Yeah, so we got sponsored by this accelerator program, and it's been a blast. So we're about halfway through the 2-month program now.
Wow. So you're just learning about all those things you just said, how to run the company, but I assume you knew a lot of these things too. It sounds like you had some background in those things.
Yeah. So my background was kind of building companies, building startups. So really small teams, early stage product development, and now learning more about the games industry. Kind of the main goal of Glossbird is we're trying to do two things and something that I haven't really seen done before. We're trying to combine game design with product development. So a quick example is Apple. Apple designs these beautiful products, iPhones, and really well-beloved products. They ship always on time, on budget, all those great things. But I will say when they went into games, Apple Arcade, that launch was horrendous. They weren't very good at designing fun experiences. On the flip side, the games industry, I think, does the opposite. You hear all the time about games going over schedule, over budget, but I mean, emotional, captivating, just like these gorgeous experiences. And it's like, how can we do both? How can we do both at Glossbird to create Fitment and other future titles?
Mm-hmm. So do you have a release date for Fitment, or kind of an idea, or can you even say?
We would love to release next year, fall of 2023, but definitely depends on some unknown factors right now.
For sure. And Alina, you mentioned that you're a lifelong gamer. So, and you kind of mentioned some Halo titles in there, but I'm curious. Well, and the other reason I want to know is because if you go to Glossbird's website, in the contact us, it's like, and tell us your favorite games, which I loved that. And I forgot to do when I did contact you. I was like, do I send another email saying, by the way, my favorite games are? And I didn't. But I'm curious what some of your favorite games are.
Yeah, I've always gravitated towards games that you could play with friends. And so the social feature coming back to Fitment is definitely huge to me. So any game with couch co-op, whether they be first-person shooters, Call of Duty, or even kind of bringing back the fitness. I absolutely loved DDR, had my at-home Dance Revolution pad. I would literally wake up at 5 a.m. to like practice the songs before my friends came over that day.
Amazing.
Yeah. What about you? What are your favorite games?
Man, well, honestly, you inspired me to finally make a list, because I always forget something on the list, because the list is just absurdly long. And that reminds me, I need to put Fallout on there. I left Fallout off. But I always gravitate toward giant, huge open world. Well, Skyrim, for one, is a favorite. But the game that, because I didn't game when I was a kid, so I didn't start gaming until I was in my early 20s, right after Grand Theft Auto 3 came out. And I loved that game, and I loved Vice City. So it's a little all over the map. I spent many years doing Call of Duty. I don't do that anymore, but I don't do multiplayer like that very often at all anymore. But I do multiplayer like Fall Guys, right? Like that's super fun. Or Fortnite. Sometimes I'll like dip my toe in with some friends just for the social part of it. I don't know. The Witcher. I mean, Dragon Age, Mass Effect. Uncharted, I was thinking that's what finally made me actually start the list. I'm like, I always forget about Uncharted. I have to put Uncharted on the list. So yeah, it's a lengthy list, but and it sounds like you probably don't have a lot of time to game now, but are you playing anything right now if you weren't in Spain?
Oh gosh, yeah. Unfortunately, this is probably the least amount of video games I've played. My goal was to beat a video game in 2022 because I have not.
Okay.
My new toy right now is the Playdate, which is a little mobile console with a little crank on it. It's black and white pixel art games. And so that's kind of my go-to right now because they're little micro games that very convenient. Wow, this sounds like a pitch for Fitment again. And carry it on the go, do it whenever. And mobile games too.
So if you don't mind telling me a little bit about the team at Glossbird, and you started in 2021, just, a little bit about the team here in Minnesota. Are you in Minneapolis headquartered or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we rent office space from another dev when we're in town. So Noble Robot by Mark LaCroix there. And actually, they have their own podcast too, which is fantastic. Minnesota Gaming Podcast, Nice Games Club.
great.
Anyway, yeah. So Glossbird and Fitment was founded by myself and my cousin Aiden. So Aiden, fantastic UX, UI designer.
Oh, cool.
Completely self-taught, going to school right now for programming and game design. And I didn't just hire him because he's my cousin. Just this talent and passion I haven't seen before. And I actually, at the very beginning days of Fitment and thinking about it, a big practice that you do in product development is you start with customer interviews. Like, is this the right problem? Will people actually want it? And so I called my cousin as a customer interview. And so I had my list of interview questions. And as we were chatting, he just started throwing ideas out like, oh, I think you should do like this and that. And like, oh, I'd love to design it. And from that first customer interview call, it turned into the start of the project officially
Oh, wow.
building the game. And so it started as a for funsies kind of like academic project in a way, and
Yeah.
now turned into a full-fledged studio. So that was the start. And then also I want to point out a couple more people. We work with a series of freelancers. So because we're currently bootstrapping and self-funded, we pull in people for little bits of time for
Sure.
little projects. So Robert Frost from Minnesota has done our main theme and a bunch of sound work. That was fun. I just ran into him at 2DCon. So we
Oh,
had a little booth, and I was sitting next to another game, Ollie Oop, which is a skateboarding dog game, very cute. And so
yeah.
I heard that theme song for 3 days straight on loop. And I was like, this is a really good theme song.
Yeah.
And Robert happened to introduce himself, like, I wrote that. And I was like, oh, okay. Let's work together. We need a better theme song. And so that's how that started.
Awesome.
And then quick shout outs to Samara. She's actually from the East Coast, is a professor in game design and art, and is leading our
Oh,
art team. And we have our 3D animator. So animations are super important, that the exercises are accurate, and also that they're not too perfect in a way, because the characters struggle alongside you. They're struggling to do
oh,
those push-ups right with you. And so our
neat.
animator Alex is from the UK.
Okay. Wow. It seems, Alina, like you definitely have the talent to bring people together. Would you say that's a theme in your life?
I think the people just happen to find me. I
Okay.
think I get really lucky. We put the word out about Fitment, and people just pop up like, I really love that idea, or is there any open positions on the team? And if it's the right fit, we figure it out. And yeah, that's how a lot of these kind of
Yeah.
interactions started.
Yeah. I mean, I say this only because it seems like, you're not the one who's coding and programming, right? Or
Doing a little bit.
are you? Okay.
We would love to hire a much more talented lead developer, but I actually had to teach myself to code, and
Oh,
I'm
wow.
using some no code solutions as well
Oh,
to
cool.
build the game. Yeah, but no, I do not want to be the lead dev forever.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, it just seems like such a fun project and such an important project, because one of the other things that we didn't really bring up, but you mentioned on the website is how, taking care of yourself with fitness and things also helps you take care of depression, right? It
Mm.
helps you feel better about yourself. So, do you want to talk about that a little bit? Just kind of your desire there to help people?
For sure, for sure. So, when the few times we get trolls, a lot of them like to say, 1 minute of exercise is not going to do anything for your physical health. Like, why are you promoting this game? Why are you promoting a few minutes a day? And there is research, and this is actually kind of a newer research field. So papers are coming out all the time about this, about workouts, doing small bouts of exercise throughout the day and how it can accumulate and still be really positive for you. So one of the greatest benefits of doing a couple minutes of exercise a day, I would actually say, is the mental health benefits. It helps with focus. It helps with depression. It helps with tons of things when you're feeling like one of the lowest energy points in the day is when you're starting to digest your lunch. And so the ideal Fitment micro workout time is about an hour after eating to get over that slump. And so you're not going to get gains maybe with Fitment, and hopefully you graduate from Fitment or, still do your 30 minutes of recommended exercise a day elsewhere. But I hope Fitment is that starting point for a lot of gamers.
Right. And I think that's such an important point of all this. And I love that's your philosophy about it. It's like, this is some people doing nothing, and now suddenly they're doing something. And how even the realization that, I did something today that I've never done before or that I don't usually do, and I feel better because I did that. That's huge. I'm just speaking from someone who struggles with this daily, to like get out there and do something. And on the days that I do less than other days, I still feel good. It's like I did something. It's important to feel that sense of accomplishment. And it seems like a really brilliant way to get people to do some things.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of like game psychology that we use with kind of motivation. And so a lot of gamers are motivated by extrinsic rewards, getting the coins, getting the achievements, getting all of that. And so definitely using that for you to get started, get the new character, get the furniture, get all those things. But we're hoping and we're putting some clues within the game design of, how do you feel? Like, stop. Are you feeling better? And hopefully it turns from extrinsic to both extrinsic and intrinsic.
Right. Yeah. Well, what a fantastic product, and I'm excited for it to come out. What more do you want to say about that, or your time in Spain, or anything?
Sure. I'll give a little quick announcement. So it's been a wild ride in Spain, where we decided to push forward the schedule by several months. We weren't going to release early access until probably next year. We're going to try and do it by the end of this month, August.
Oh,
and
cool.
So that's going to be available to the wider public. It's still work in progress, but on Android and iOS. So big shout out is find us on the app stores soon. You can search Fitment.
Perfect. That's absolutely fantastic. I will look forward to that happening. Alina, what a pleasure to meet you, and I'm so grateful that you're here in Minnesota. I mean, you're in Spain now, but I'm just glad that you're part of this state, and what a pleasure to get a chat with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time and having me today.